All right, so I've started the recording and let me get that moving for you. There we go.
Good, we got the flag. So we'd like to open the meeting as we always do with the Pledge of Allegiance. You can either do it sitting there or standing. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Good, thank you. Okay, let's try the next view graph. That's a good one. So for those that are joining for the first time, the Veterans Engagement Board here in Loudoun County adopted this particular statement to promote a healthy and enriched lifestyle for Loudoun County veterans and their family members through community outreach and advocacy for Loudoun County veterans issues. And we're going to have a lot of discussion tonight on several areas that are related to all of this. So I think we'll have a good discussion. Okay, we have a guest. We don't have two guests. We had invited Drew Bishop, and I've not been able to get him into the group yet. We do have Julie Gordon, who is Veterans Women's Connection, and she's going to give us a short presentation on her organization tonight. So welcome, Julie. I know you're out there somewhere.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we'll get to you in a few minutes or so. I just had put the voting roster on here for effect. So we have a couple of categories of membership, voting members of veterans groups, and then some that are veteran service groups that are non-voting members. And I can explain that later, but this is our voting membership. And that's all we need to say about that, I think, right now, for sure. Okay, we had, at our last meeting, we elected officers for the next upcoming year. And in this particular case, some of us are carrying over into an additional year. So I'm the chair of the executive committee. Ken James is be on in a couple of minutes as vice chair. Richard Ryan is here tonight as treasurer. Christy, we didn't get a chance to clear up this slide yet, but Michael's unable to go forward as a secretary. So
Right,
we're looking for a secretary.
That's why I put him in red.
Okay. So we're trying to replace the secretary. And Rob Jones, I don't know if Rob's on yet or not, but he's been working in our communications committee.
Yes, sir, right here.
Oh, you're there. Okay. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
You missed all the early rounds when we were discussing newborn infants and so forth, but you can get a chance later.
I was putting mine to sleep.
Okay. And Amy Stoddard is on as well, and she's with Serving Together. She's the Northern Virginia program manager, and we're glad to have her with us as well. And she's going to be taking over some of the supports that we get right now from Christy, as Christy has a different responsibility starting from about now. Okay. Let's try the next one, see what happens. And we have with us Tom Grant from the Veteran Service Office. He's the Veteran Service Officer from Loudoun County. And I wanted to say, as the second bullet on here, that we'd like to thank you, Tom, for your support to Loudoun vets and their family. And we also would like to thank all the member organizations that have provided support to the vets during this whole year. And we've had examples after example of the ability that the different organizations have had in being able to provide support to some of the veterans, as Tom's brought up the cases. So again, thank you, Tom, and thank you to everybody that's supported the work here in Loudoun County. Okay, let me see what happens. Okay, let's back up a second. We don't want to give Julie a chance yet. Wait one more minute. Tom, at this point in time, Tom normally gives an update from Loudoun County and from the work he's been doing. And I want to give him a chance to kind of speak up for a couple minutes. Tom?
Jim, welcome to everybody. Hi, Julie. It's glad to see you. Your comment regarding the thanks to me, you're very welcome. I appreciate it, but it just underscores the fact that this whole effort of ours to support veterans and their families in Loudoun County is not a governmental function. It's a community function. I'm just out there as a facilitator or a connect the dots guy, but the real hard work is being done by each one of our veteran service organizations out there in Loudoun County, of which we got 13 of them. I think 13, and counting the Vietnam guys out in Fairfax, it may be 14. but I just wanted, so I'll just take those thanks and return them back to you guys and gals, because you're the ones that are doing the work and you're the ones that are supporting our veterans. And when I get a veteran that walks into my office or calls me nowadays during COVID, and I tell them, hey, I may be able to help you. At the end of the day, I always emphasize with them that, one, it's not my money. Two, it's not my decision. And three, I'm just kind of a mouthpiece. I put the story together and I tell the story to you all, and then you all and your executive committees make the decisions based on your guidelines and your charter documents. So once again, thank you to all of you. As far as the veterans support that I've seen in the past 2 months since our last CVEB, once again, I entered into this COVID crisis, if you want to call it that, expecting a deluge, expecting them to just the water, the dam to break kind of thing. And that has not occurred. The rate is still about the same. It's about 2 to 3 veterans I get every day who call me. 2 out of those 3 are easy fixes. They're call Hillary Castro over at the Veteran Service Organization from Virginia over in Ashburn, or here's a website looking for a job, that kind of thing. The third, and it does work out to about 30%, 33%, are those stories that you guys and gals see in email, veterans in need. I have a family who can't pay the rent, or is having problems with the mortgage, or tried to commit suicide and needs assistance, that kind of thing. And that's where I spend at least 90% of my time. And once again, it's a full circle thing. It's you guys and gals and your organizations that make the success of these efforts possible, and actually bring the whole thing to fruition. So, but from a throughput demand signal kind of measurement, I haven't seen any real increase. Some of our regular customers, if you want to call them that, we've had a few of them come back. But that's really it. So it hasn't been any surprises, and they still fit into those, without exception, they fit into those 3 categories. One, I fought in Vietnam and never hooked up with the VA on my benefits. So I never, I didn't want to talk to the VA when I was 21 coming back from Da Nang. Now I'm 80 years old and I think I ought to talk to them. So we link them up with the VA and get that thing moving. The second area is, hey, I'm unemployed, and finding jobs in Loudoun County is a fairly, I don't want to say easy thing, but it's not a difficult thing for a veteran to find a job. Now, I'm not talking, once again, about $200,000 working for Microsoft a year. I may be talking about $19 an hour working at the Dulles Marriott, but it gets you back on the bus, gets the money coming in, and mom and dad are happy and the kids are getting what they need. And it's just a stepping stone to another career or another job for people. And then the third area is those veterans in need that we've already discussed. And that hasn't changed over my 3 years of tenure here, 3 years in the saddle. So that's it. Nothing else, Jim. If anybody has any questions, please.
Okay, we've had a chance to talk to a number of people in your board of supervisors, and we've got some veterans on that board as well. So it's a good county to be in, to say the least, and appreciate the support that we've got from the county itself for veterans.
Yeah, we do. We get that support from the supervisors, and I'm still consistent. I'm constantly asked the question, how in God's name did Loudoun County end up with a veteran services coordinator? And it's the county out there that has no military bases, no natural connection to the military or whatever, where you find a place like Fairfax or Arlington or Prince William County with all the bases and that type of thing. They don't have a person like me, a person, full-time doing this. The flip side to that is I'm constantly, or not constantly, but regularly asked, hey, is 1 man year enough a level of effort for this job? And I constantly tell the supervisors and the leadership in the county that if you've got resources to buy more people, don't buy another me, buy another woman who's doing housing, or buy another woman who's doing food stamps or SNAP or daycare or healthcare or adult protective services. Because in a military model, I'm really the direct support element to veterans, whereas those other people are the people I lean on a regular basis in a general support. They're supporting much more than veterans, but they're there for veterans. So.
Okay,
Tom?
thanks again, Tom.
Tom, Richard here.
Richard, yeah.
Have you been contacted by Tim?
By who?
Tim, our amputee vet who had his foot taken off last year?
Tim.
Tim Gamble.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, I spoke with him about a month ago.
All right, he may need another conversation on, I think he's had some hours cut back and some things like that. So,
Okay, I can reach out to him.
all right, appreciate that.
You were confusing me with Willie, our other amputee.
Oh, right.
I think Peter Scott had his hand up, Jim.
Hey, Tom, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you're not getting ready to retire, are you?
No, not at all. No, I'm still taking care of my horse farm out here, but as my wife has reminded me, if I don't find something else to do, I'll be a borderline psychotic. So I'll stick with this for a while. And it's, if that decision or, if any other decisions are made, you guys and gals will be the first one to know about it and well in advance. So no surprises.
Tom.
Yeah, sure, Peter.
Okay. Again, thank you. So, having covered Loudoun County with some good news and support, anything else anybody wants to bring up before I go to the next view graph? No, going once. Oh, let's try the next one, Christy. I think it's Julie Gordon, asked to join us tonight and see what we're all about. And we countered that by asking her to speak to us about her own organization. So Julie, we've arrived at you. So I'd like to turn it over to you right now. And I think you have a presentation in here somewhere.
Yes, sir. Christy, are you going to allow me to share?
I can, yeah. Let me stop sharing on my end so you can take over.
Okay. All right, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, great. Great. So VWC is Women's Veterans Connections, and our slogan is Bridging Connections because we want to bridge connections from military female veterans to the community. All right, our board, which I did invite here with me tonight, but none of them could be available tonight. But our board is of 5 members, and then I'm one of the active members as the community outreach, but I do not serve on the board. We are a nonprofit 501c3 organization. We're formed by a collection of proud female Army, Air Force, Navy veterans. I'm Army, go Army. Our team has worked together since 2019. A bunch of us met while we were actually working through Women's Giving Back here in Loudoun County. We kind of formed a sisterhood back in 2019, and then we decided to start our own organization to support women veterans. So VWC was actually born on October 23rd, 2020. So we're a fairly young organization, but the ladies that make up the organization, we've actually been working together for over a year now. One of the things that we all have in common is we have a heart for the female veterans. We understand the unique challenges that females endure when transitioning from military service and adapting to civilian life. So we wanted to get together and try to address and support some of those needs. Our mission is to assist with the immediate needs of female veterans transitioning from military to civilian life. Now, that's important because, as you all know, there's a bunch of organizations out there that support veterans overall, but sometimes veterans need something right now and they can't wait for the process. If you're hungry now. If you're going to get evicted, you need funds now. So we try to be basically like a first responder. We want to stop the bleeding and then get them to what they need. And our vision for the organization is really to become a community leader in bridging the gap between, the military and then that transition for female veterans. Our approach, we want to use a collaborative effort, and that's why I'm here. I want to make friends with the other organizations that is out in the community, and we want to collaborate on actually addressing the needs of all veterans, but for our group, female veterans. Right now, we're working with the Loudoun County Veteran Services Program. As you know, we reached out to Tom, and that was our first connection to the community, who has helped introduce us to some of the local resources, and actually has given us the opportunity to actually help some veterans that are in need. We have membership connections with an organization called Women Veterans Interactive. They're a large organization. They're nationwide. We have a membership connection with them, and also they help us with resources when we have needs at our local areas, in our local community. So with that, I didn't have a bunch of slides. I did want to do a brief introduction of our organization. As I stated, we're young. We're trying to make friends and lock arms with other organizations so we can be effective in the community. So if anyone have questions for me, that would be great. I do want to add that right now, our only means to funds is we get out and we fundraise. We haven't applied for any grants. There's a lot of things I'm sure we don't know, and I'm hoping that some relationships I build with you all and other organizations will, open our eyes to some of the things that we can do that would help us be more effective for the community.
Well, thank you very much. I want to see if there's any questions from the rest of the people. Yes, Peter Scott.
Julie, are the ladies that you work with no longer in the service, or are some of them in the service getting ready to transition?
No, sir, we are all veterans. And that's a great question. And one of the things that I do want to say is we have all been a part of that struggle of transitioning from the military into civilian life. Some of us were single mothers. Some of us had been in the military 30 years, so we were only adapted to military life. We didn't even know what it was like to be a civilian because, like me, I went in the military when I was 17. So by the time I got out, I had no idea what it was like to be a non-military community person. So, so it was a struggle. So we've all either been a part of the struggle or we've sat next to someone that was a part of the struggle. So we understand the problems that women veterans are having when they transition. But so that's the long answer to your question. Short answer is we're all veterans.
Julie, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Well, one, thanks for that presentation. Your organization sounds awesome. I'd love to connect with you offline. Could you drop your contact info in the chat box?
I definitely will, and I will actually move on to the next slide. In the next slide, I do have a contact us slide, but I would be glad to actually drop it in the comments as well.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Julie, Tom Grant here. Can you send us a copy of the presentation?
Absolutely, and I've actually shared them with Christy already.
Great, thank you.
No problem.
I'll include them in the follow-up notes for sure.
Awesome. So I appreciate you guys for allowing me to be on the agenda. I'm actually excited to meet you all, and I hope that I actually get to know you all very well and that we become very known to the community.
Miss Julie, I'm John with Wounded Warrior Project, and I was just wondering, we have been working really hard and have to do so many women-only events with our women veterans. And I'm wondering, would you ever be interested in coming to speak or answer questions or things like that? Because other organizations, in the area, we can't do it all. And some organizations have some great programs that could help out outside of Wounded Warrior Project. So I'd be really interested in having you come speak at one of our women-only events.
I'm a talker, and I have a heart for female veterans. I have a heart for this effort that we're behind. I would love to.
That would be wonderful.
No problem at all.
Thank you.
And has Christy given you the opportunity yet to join this Augusta organization, the Veterans Organization of Loudoun County?
She has
That's part of the
won
deal.
at
You
this
can't
point.
leave until you join.
I think she wanted to test drive me tonight, so
Okay.
we're out for tonight.
I'll definitely send you a membership form, Julie, and I know we'll definitely want to reach out to you about serving together as well.
Well,
Awesome.
we're very glad to see you and to have your organization available in Loudoun County. And I'm sure you'll find plenty of opportunities to work with Tom Grant.
Thank you. I have tenacity to help the organization and the community, so thank you very much.
Okay. I'm going to switch a little bit here right now and tell you that several things have been going on over the last couple of weeks. And we were contacted by the VA Veterans Experience Office, which is a group that is trying to work with veterans organizations across the country. And the head of that office held a Zoom town hall meeting in November and gave a report to all of the CVEB organizations across the country. I think there's something like 100 or so of the organizations like ourselves in different locations throughout the US. And they gave a report on the last 5 years of work that the VA has been doing, including the challenge this year from COVID. And I made a note on the bottom that they planned for a collaboration meeting to discuss the mission plan. And we'll talk about that again in a second too. Somebody asked me about that, and you can, I'll just talk about that in another minute or so. If we could, let's go to the next view graph for a second. Because we have a lot of discussions kind of in the background about the VA and veterans and what kind of support is being given to veterans here in other parts of the country. And part of the comment that VA made to us in that open house that they had was talking about 2020. And I listed some of the things that had gone on during the year to try to work with veterans under the circumstances when, the limited access to facilities. And they're on here on this page, and we'll get a copy to you later. But again, the ability to get veterans to check in from the parking lot, to try to get online inquiries, to have a chat box to answer questions about COVID-19 and get information. And they gave an indication that they talked to a large number of customers or sent information to customers throughout the whole year. We're talking about millions of emails. And they've provided a lot of information. They said something in the order of 30 million plus veterans. I know they've had increased use of telehealth services. And they've got a telehealth kit, which helps veterans get access to the VA offices and handle whatever situation they have to handle. And the reason I put this on here for this screen was sometimes we have a question about whether or not that the VA is responsible to our needs. And I have to say that in this 1 year, they've shown indication to get at problems that existed and try to answer them in somewhat real time. So if they've talked to hundreds of thousands or millions of people during the course of the year, and no surprise across the whole country, that's pretty impressive. So I'd like to give a little credit to VA for doing that. I don't have any comments other than this, just to point out that during the course of the day, they gave me a list, they gave a presentation that covered a large number of different other activities that they worked on, but this is just an example of what they tried to do this year. I have no other comment about that particular view graph, and we'll go on to the next item. And, okay.
Did I skip one?
Christy, I'm not sure if I'm missing one slide, but oh, there you are.
I think I only had this one and that one in there.
Okay.
Those are the only two I had. So I don't know, do you want me to go back to this one so you can kind of talk a little bit about the mission plan?
Okay. One of the things that the VA is doing is that Congress had developed what they call a mission plan for the VA, and it was tried to make VA more effective, more up to date in terms of its capabilities. And so they've been working on a program for this. And part of the reason that they had met with veterans groups here over the last few weeks was to talk about that particular program. So they've got a plan to develop, and this is not a short-term plan, but they want to develop a number of programs to meet mission needs. I'm going to take a deep breath for a second. and comment about that. I found Chrissy, I found the view graph that I sent you that's on my sheet of paper.
Okay, good.
So they wanted to ask questions of the different veterans groups. Were there issues that we had that we felt that they should be addressing and trying to upgrade and modernize the VA support to the country? And I wanted to tell you that one of the groups that was talking was in West Virginia, and another one in New York State. And there were 4 or 5 issues that came up that I thought I wanted to mention. One was mental health and the lack of, one of the things that they pointed out was there's a lack of data on suicide rates and mental health support. And they asked VA if there was some way to get more information to organizations throughout the country that are working with veterans. And that was a point taken by the VA that they were going to look at that kind of information. The second point was related to that. And this is a question that we have here in Loudoun County. So the fellow that was talking was from New York Finger Lakes region. He said, how do we find vets? We can't find these vets. We know that they're out there. We need a system to provide info to the CVEBs of the country on how to find our vets, which got a large response from all the people that were on the web call. And Loudoun County also has a similar problem in trying to find. We've got 20,000 vets, and we find it very difficult to identify who they are, where they were, or how to get communications to them. So I'm not saying we have an answer to that yet, but certainly was a large-scale agreement. That's an issue that needs to be dealt with between VA and the veterans organizations. The third issue was arranging transport to VA facilities in rural areas. And I noticed that that was an issue that we had when I first joined this organization. It was one of the issues we were looking at from our own more organization. We had some veterans that needed some support, and we're trying to look at working on that. The next point, though, I reserved for Julie. A point was made by one of the women's organizations. The women vets are 12% of the veterans force, that they have different issues, and they may not get the attention from the vet schedulers that they need. So they were looking for a way to get more realization of women veteran needs in front of the VA and the VA handlers and schedulers. That and they cited the case example, which I hate to mention, a woman calling up looking for some support, and the person on the other end said, "Are you a veteran?" Said, "Certainly I am." However, she kind of went to the back of the line in terms of giving us support. So they just kind of made that point that that's an issue to deal with. So I can follow that up with Julie a little bit later, but I wanted to mention the fact that the VA has certainly got that now in front of them as an issue that they're looking at. And I mentioned one thing to them about our own county, and one of the things we're looking for. We've been trying to see if we could get a medical facility, VAMC, in Loudoun County. It's kind of in development, so to speak, right now. It hasn't gone too far forward. But one of the things that I did think about, and I made this in large print for myself, as I said, there were a number of different veterans organizations throughout the country that were clearly working with veterans issues. They had people that had background in either in medical service in the military or in VA. So they were actively working with VA and had a lot of exchange with them. I know, for example, at least some of the veterans organizations here too have a fairly strong background in working with the VA. And so the question I asked myself was, should Loudoun Veterans Organization have a subcommittee that would work with the VA on issues like the Mission Act? And I don't know what you thought about that, whether any comments from that at all, trying to become more proactive in working with the VA, because right now it seems to be in the background, so to speak. We're doing things here in the county, but not necessarily directly working with VA.
So Jim, Tom Grant here. I think it's an excellent idea. Just keeping in mind realistically the level of effort that it takes to do that. For example, it takes attending the District of Columbia Medical Center's directors meeting every month and the Martinsburg Medical Center directors meeting every month. And maintaining those contacts and maintaining a robust relationship. I've tried, but I have failed miserably for varied reasons. And of course, COVID, it's a complete wrench in the machine. But certainly when we come out of the COVID crisis, it would certainly be worth it looking at rejuvenating that. And perhaps the next time I go to one of the directors meeting down in DC and I say I'm from Loudoun County, I won't get a look like, where in God's name is Loudoun County? But I think it's a good idea, and I'd be more than happy to help in the background to make it successful.
And
Thank
this
you,
is
Tom. Go ahead.
this is Stephanie Burns with the American Red Cross. And since I was one that worked at the DCVA, and I'm actually one of them that started the meetings at the DCVA, I'm more than willing to assist with that as well.
Okay. Well, obviously, it's a topic that I wanted to follow up, and we're not going to get the answer here tonight, but I've got you cornered, Stephanie. And I'm sure Tom took a note. So, but we do want to take kind of expand the Veterans Board so that it takes a look at these kind of issues, and particularly when the VA is going to be active here over this next year and trying to respond to what they call the Mission Act issues, and they're trying to develop criteria for improving VA services. It's going to be it's going to take them a couple of years to put this thing together, and certainly would be a good idea if Loudoun County could be involved with that. But we'll need to find a couple of people.
Jim and Tom, I would like to participate, and I should be a member of this group by then.
Okay. Hey, Tom, we got a quorum here.
There you go, Jim.
All right.
Jim?
Thank you very much. That was just kind of a thumbnail about the Veterans Experience Office, but I would mention that I did have a meeting on Monday. We attended, it was a Zoom meeting, and the VA strategy office, and there were 5 or 6 people from that group talking to the veterans that were on the line. They're going to have 3 more this week, and then they're going to have some more, I think, a little bit further in the year. So there's an opportunity to get involved directly with VA and some of the key offices in VA, long-term planning and the office that's responsible for working with veterans. So there's certainly an opportunity right now for Loudoun County to get in on this relationship with the VA. And I look forward to following that up with you all here in the next few days. Peter.
Jim, I'm glad to hear that they're going to have future meetings. I would ask you to raise the subject that's of concern to me, and that has to do with the Veterans Experience Action Center. You all will recall how we thrashed around, not only we, but the VA people, when we were trying to pull this thing together.
Mm-hmm.
And that shouldn't be. The VA ought to have an SOP on how to conduct one of these things, both the government people and our organizations. And they don't have. And so as a result, there's a hell of a lot of wasted time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I will say that our new contact for the VA for the Veterans Experience Office, Tony Bushnell, every time that I email her now, I always get out of office saying that she's part of a virtual experience action center event. So it sounds like they are happening very much more frequently, and they probably have some better SOPs now at this point than they did when we were working with them earlier this year.
Christy, is Cajun still their lead point of contact?
I'm not sure, but I know our point of contact should be Tony Bushnell, I believe now.
Yeah, I know. It's just that when we called up to, I think where we had more of our problem was with the Baltimore folks and the issue of overtime and driving down and some of the things. And Peter, you and I, we discussed a lot of that. But I agree, if we can get to Tony and talk to Tony and find out what's going on, that'd be great. So
Um, we
Yeah,
that's
had-
gonna,
it
that's
sounds
gonna
like-
come up here in the slide in just a little bit, because we're looking to try to do a veterans experience event in October. And hopefully, by October, everybody will have the vaccination, and we hope to have the mask off and be able to meet in person. But, it's all dependent on how well everything goes between now and I'd say the spring, because we're gonna have to make a decision in April and May as to whether we're gonna do one in October.
Well, this is the time to start following up on that and seeing if they're,
Yeah.
we've got
Now,
good
we can start
connections at the
following
top,
up, but just,
not necessarily
yeah,
the local
but just a
area.
final decision would have to be made. It's either go, no go by April, May timeframe.
Mhm. Okay, thank you all for your comments and volunteering. Julie, we got you well into this organization. So good. Can we go to the next one for a second? Well, okay. We do have a communications committee headed up by Rob Jones. It's got Richard Ryan, Donald Pullman, Peter Scott, Michelle Cole, and the ex-member of the group is Ken James. The idea is that we want to link veterans and their families with our own organizations, and the idea is to provide support. So that was the goal, I guess, Ken, of that organization committee. I want to let you take over, by the way.
I'm gonna
Ken?
turn it over to Rob so he can talk about where we are right now with the communications committee, and then the following slide is talking about events, sort of an update on the events. So, Rob, did you have anything you wanted to provide? Is Rob still with us?
He may have had to answer a family call. I don't know.
Well, actually, he dropped off, so I think he may have lost his connection. He was there for just a minute, and then looked like the connection faded. But yeah, Rob is our new chair of the communications committee, and Rob comes with as most of you know, he was running for political office for the 10th congressional district seat, and bottom line is he comes with a great depth and a breadth of experience as far as the people that he knows across this county and various veterans organizations. So it's great to have Rob as part of the communications team and to work with the people like Don and Peter and Richard and Michelle. We've got a great group of folks who are very, very involved. Rob, Don, I wanted to turn to you. Are there any updates on the webpage or on Facebook, please, or anything that the veterans organizations, the VSOs can do to help us out? So just wanted to turn it over to you for a minute.
Yeah, I have had, it's been a slow couple of months for getting stuff to put onto the web page and then onto the Facebook page. But whatever Tom Grant sends me, I immediately or as quickly as possible try to put it onto the web page, and then in turn I link it to the Loudoun County Veterans Facebook page. I had a couple organizations that sent me direct inputs for the web page, and that worked out great. And I would like to do that for some other things. Excuse me for my phone ringing. Oh, my daughter. Yeah. See if my wife picks up. Yeah, okay, she picked up. So if there are any organizations out there that would like to give me a write-up or anything in the way of events that are going on, I would be more than happy to get it onto the web page and then onto the Facebook page, so that we start getting some feedback from people reading the things. I'd like to find out if what we're doing on the web page is getting out to people. If I could get some feedback from people who have gone to the web page and found some interesting things that they got some advantage out of, I probably should put out like a survey form or something like that that would tell me what I need to know. But yeah, anybody have anything for the webpage or the Facebook? Make sure that you get it to me at my email address is don.porman@verizon.net. So I would be more than happy to get it going so that you start getting feedback from your point for your organization's events or information for your events.
Don, I'll forward you a article that the River Creek Veterans Organization held a charity tournament. It's been a couple of months, but we'll go ahead and submit it to you anyway, because that's a great avenue to put out there what the various veterans service organizations are doing across Loudoun County. But the charity event was for Operation Restore Hope, and we raised in the neighborhood of about $45,000 for them with
Fantastic.
a charity golf tournament. So that will help a lot of our veterans maintain their homes. And while that covers the DMV, not just Loudoun County, we've been told that that they will take care of us. We're part of it, so it's all good. And we're scheduled to do the same tournament again next year in the fall. So
okay, just send me an advance notice of it.
Yeah, and I'll send you advance notice of that. But the reason I'm bringing that up is there's other things that, we had the poppy sales, we had, for our poppy donation request, I should say. I didn't want to say sales, I've used the wrong word. But anyway, I know the Legion posted that over Veterans Day. So there's several things that we could be putting out there for communications out to the various segments of our community. So, by the way, I see Rob, you've joined us. Did you have anything you wanted to add to this slide, please?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, I saw you just disappear, so I figured it just went away. So.
Yeah, I have my phone connected to a battery pack, and I didn't realize you had to actually turn the battery pack on. My phone ran out of battery right before we went to the slide.
Oh.
But yeah, I'm here now, and I just wanted to share just a few initial thoughts that I've been having about possible ways that we can kind of accomplish the objective of the communication, which is simply to ensure that people know that we exist. As many people as possible in Loudoun County know that we exist. That's our goal, and obviously to talk with those people. And so I just want to share a few things that I've thought of just over the last few weeks. I'm starting to try and compile some in terms of getting news articles and that kind of thing. So getting the word out about us in the written media and maybe even news media. If we could start trying to collate some success stories that we've had with people that we've helped, veterans that we've helped through the Veterans Engagement Board, people that have maybe come to us so that we've been involved in helping them in some fashion, and we can start following up on those and getting the stories there, because I think we've gotten in the newspaper a couple times for being recognized by the Board of Supervisors, but obviously they're not going to keep writing that same article over and over, so we have to start thinking of some compelling stories for them to want to tell. So if anybody has some success stories where the Veterans Engagement Board has been involved, or something that's happened where we can provide a quote from the Veterans Engagement Board, something like that, please do email me. My email is robjonesjourney@gmail.com. So I want to start trying to collect those stories. And then in terms of these articles getting written, it's possible I'm looking into, because I know that we've had success by writing our own articles and sending it in and submitting it. So I'm wondering if over time, if we can maybe form a partnership with some journalism classes in high schools in the area, maybe even Nova, maybe they have a journalism class where people need to do some volunteer work where they can spend some time writing some articles that we can submit. So trying to figure out whether or not that'd be possible. I want to start certainly expanding our social media presence where we're on Facebook and that kind of thing. Are we on anything else besides Facebook, Jim?
No.
Okay. So maybe we just start expanding that out. I know that there's this other social media network called Rally Point. I don't totally understand it, but it's for veterans and veterans only. So maybe we can try. It works a little bit different from Facebook. So maybe we can set up a page on there or figure out how to utilize that to get the word out about us. But I think a lot of this is going to be about sort of direct contact as well. So trying to identify on these social media platforms people that we definitely know are veterans in this area, maybe just inviting them to follow the page and trying to connect with them that way. That kind of it takes a little bit more work, but it's one thing that we could possibly try. And then my last thought was just expanding the website. Maybe we can somehow make it a one-stop shop for for Loudoun County specific things that veterans would be interested, like what businesses are veteran friendly, which businesses in the area maybe have a preference to hire veterans if you're looking for a job, or maybe somebody went into a restaurant and the owner gave them a discount off of their meal because they were a veteran, things like that. So maybe having more information about Loudoun County specific, just things that veterans might care about. And one big idea I had with the website, and this is something I've been thinking about for a long time, somehow we were just talking about things that the VA can do to help veterans in our area, but I would also like to maybe see if we can focus on information about what the veteran can do to navigate the VA system a little bit better, specifically maybe DC and Martinsburg, and maybe have that, see if maybe I can get with Tom on this, or maybe we can find somebody that can kind of advise about this. But in my experience with the VA, it seems like the vast majority of people that have problems, or maybe not the majority, but a lot of the people that have problems, they're not familiar with the proper means or best practices to navigate the VA system. So for example, whenever I need anything from the VA, or if I've been waiting for a long time on something, I contact the guy at the OEF clinic in Martinsburg, and he has all the connections in the hospital already, and I have him chase it down for me, and he knows how that system works. So he's a lot better at chasing the people down that I need help from than me just calling the main line and trying to get to somebody. So maybe we can start to work on figuring out some best practices that we can have on our website that veterans can, if they're struggling, they can maybe do an internet search and they can see our page and see, well, if you're experiencing this problem, then these are the best practices, and these are the people that you can contact, and that kind of thing. So that's kind of a long-term project that we might be able to work on. But that's kind of all my thoughts on right now in terms of my initial assessment. And I'll just end by saying, anybody has any ideas, please do send them to robjonesjourney@gmail.com. Or if any of these ideas you've tried and you know that they won't work, please just let me know. I'm open to any ideas.
Well, thank you a lot, Rob. I appreciate that. And believe me, I'm going to be thinking some thoughts, try to help you out with that as well here in the next couple of months.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Ken.
Let's go to the next slide, please. Wanted to provide you an update. We talked about this at the last CVED meeting. For the virtual job fair, we're looking at either April or May. And given the fact that the new administration has indicated that once on inauguration day, they're going to put into effect a mandatory 100-day mask requirement. which if you go and add that up, it takes us out into June. So I think we'll be doing a virtual job fair, not a on scene, if you will. Along those lines, Jim and I met with the president of Corporate Gray, and Tom Grant introduced us virtually. And Tom, I very much appreciate it. I know Carl was a classmate of yours at the academy, and what a fantastic individual. So he provided us a lot of information. Right now, what we're looking at is trying to figure out the virtual platform that we'll use in order to set this up for our virtual job fair. And, the platform provides the avenue to advertise the jobs, upload the resumes, and arrange the interviews. Now, we're talking about large corporations. We're talking about the SAICs, the CACIs, and some of those other organizations that are looking for, in many cases, people who come with management experience, project management experience, a lot of tech, those kind of things. But I want to emphasize the fact that it's not just going for the retired officer. They also look for the retired NCOs, senior enlisted members as well. And it's not just the military member, but it's also the family members. So when Corporate Gray is doing some of these, they're looking at the entire family. That's where we need to be focused as well. What this site does, it provides our veterans and their family members assistance with not only how to build a resume, but to develop their 30-second, what we call the 30-second elevator speech, and which often is the key to getting a job and getting your foot in the door. Certainly dress recommendations, how to wear that, what to wear, I should say, and how to wear it as far as a suit and tie goes. So there's a lot of information. We've got a lot of work to do. Tom and I are going to be getting together here later on this week, probably next week, just to talk between ourselves about where we think we need to go. I'm in the process of researching these various platforms. Carl gave us 7 different platforms that we could experiment with. So I'm going to look at those. So a lot of information, a lot of opportunity here to provide opportunities for our vets. And Julie, I was thinking about when you were offering your program up, talking about the women experience, the veterans experience, if you will. This is a perfect opportunity to help our women veterans, as well as all veterans and their families, as far as getting good jobs. So that's what we want to do. And really, if you look at it, as I mentioned at the last CBEP meeting, our focus is to really look at 2 major events that we do each year. One would be a job fair. The other would be the Veterans Experience and Action Center. And going back to what you were talking about, Peter, I'd really like to start, especially going into January. This is the perfect time for us to lay the foundation and get somebody in the VA, Tony, if you will, to come online and tell us who's actually going to sign up to help us with this Veterans Experience Action Center. What is their standard operating procedure guidelines, if you will. I know when we talked to Cajun, he offered up the instruction booklet on how they did it, and they had the 180, 120, 90-day, 30-day plan, if you will, on what things need to be, how we needed to stage this. But what we really need is the commitment by the VA to have the right people here in Loudoun County to meet with our veterans, to provide them with the necessary information so that they can file their claims and be taken care of. The last time we seemed to get a lot of runaround, and also every time we turned around, they were pulling back from us a little bit more and more with the hours that they would be available. And so we need a commitment now from the VA. So hopefully we'll be able to do that. But right now, we're looking at October as a possible date for a VIAC. And that being the case, we need to start looking at venues to hold this event and then start putting together the committee that will actually work it. And just to announce to the group here, formally sent my resignation into Booz Allen that I'm planning on retiring effective 31 January. So I no longer have a full-time job. I'm no longer traveling overseas to foreign countries to work with their military departments. So I'm going to be devoted to working veterans issues here in Loudoun County and working in Side River Creek and doing some other things. But anyway, this is going to be a focus of mine for the year going forward. So just to let you all know, there's a lot of work to be done. We appreciate everybody's support, but please know that Jim and I have been talking, and we've got our eye squarely on these two events for 2021. I think these are things that will help us solidify a great deal of support for our veterans. And again, Tom, thank you very much for putting us in touch with Carl. That was a great call. So we really appreciate it. Thanks.
Okay.
Ken,
Just a
welcome
small
to the
note on the
club.
bottom of the page here. Go ahead.
Ken, welcome to the club.
Yes.
Thanks. Glad to be there.
I hear you.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Thanks again, Ken, for the update.
Thank you.
At this point in time, I was going to turn to the 2001 and ask them if they have anything going on that we should know about. I'm trying to get some dates from different organizations. So, but it's going to, Chaz was going to be here, but he didn't make it. So Richard is here.
Yes, the only thing I'd say, Tom Grant has pretty good insight into this, but we have a very tough situation with a veteran's family here in Loudoun, and I'm not sure if we're going to be successful, but we're trying like heck. And as I was dealing with this and talking with Tom, I decided to expand the circle of advisors to me. And so I created a strategic steering group, which actually includes Rob Jones and Alicia Andrews and a couple other people. And we met last week, had a virtual Zoom session to talk about all the different aspects that the family's facing and what a long-term strategy might be, short-term priorities and things like that. So that's kind of a unique thing for me to be involved in that, rather than just, you know, coordinating the answer to Tom's call for who can help this veteran and write a check. So this is a whole different ball game, and probably in another month, I might just brief the approach that we took and whether we were successful, partially successful, or what happened. So that's what I would say for right now. I would mention for grants that the COVID CARES money that we were awarded by Leesburg, we have expended, that was an $8,900 award to us for Leesburg veterans, and we're within $1,000 of expending all of that. And what's unique about that is that the monies, if not expended, get returned back to the town. And then I think they turn them back to the US government, I believe. But anyway, that was a unique thing this year, was getting COVID CARES grant funding to help Leesburg veterans. And Tom's been very good at making sure we know that this is a Leesburg resident, not just Loudoun County.
Thank you, Richard.
Yep, that'd be a quick update for you.
Does anybody else have anything they want to add at this point from their own organizations?
I can add from the Red Cross, American Red Cross. This is Stephanie Burns.
Mm-hmm.
We had, Chris had sent me information about the virtual workshops. They've changed them up a little bit right now, and they're focusing really on children that are, I guess we could say adolescents, that are ages 13 to 17. And so they're going to be focusing on that with more of family laugh and learn and calming and calming connections, stress and solution, effective communications. So trying to have connections with your kids. And so I did send that to you, Don, to put on to our information on our Facebook and web page. So I sent that one pager out over email. So that's the new thing that American Red Cross has right now.
Thank you.
Stephanie, this is Richard.
Yes,
again.
sir.
The family situation that I just described, that type of service provided to the family might be a very interesting item to explore.
Okay.
So how would I get information about it or send you my contact data?
I'm going to put it into I'll put the flyer in. What might be easier since I'm on my cell phone is I'll just put my email in and then I'll email you the flyer directly and it'll give you the information. And if there's anything else I can help with the family, just let me know.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else?
Hi, this is Maria from Project Horse, Maria Kimball.
Oh, yes, Maria.
And I would like to share with everyone that Project Horse was awarded an adaptive sports grant from the VA in the amount of $35,000 for us to provide equine-assisted psychotherapy services to veterans. We are currently in the planning stages of how we're going to roll that out. But if there is if you know of any veterans that could use, and this would be for therapy services, I can put my email in the chat box. Please send me an email because as soon as we've got our plan in place, we're going to hit the ground running with these services.
Well, thank you very much. Congratulations too on that grant.
Thank you. We're honored to be able to provide this for our veterans.
Okay. Anybody else? If not, I think this has been a very interesting meeting. It went across many different points and boundary conditions and so forth. And I appreciate everything that you've done to provide this information tonight. As you know, we have a bi-monthly meeting. So the next meeting is going to be in the new year and it's going to be in February. Right now, the plan is to have it on February 15th, same time frame. And it probably will be virtual again, I think, unless things change dramatically. Although I'm hoping to get, personally, to get a shot here in the next couple of weeks. We'll see how that goes. But anyhow, we'll keep you posted and give you the information. And again, I appreciate all of you for coming. And we can now close the meeting. Thank you very much. Christy, could you stay on for a second?
I sure can.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Happy holidays to everybody. Keep yourself safe and wear that mask.
All right.
Likewise.
Everybody.
Likewise. Be safe, folks. Be safe.
Thanks, Ken.